Okay, after we listed up strategic alternatives, we did the various analysis, and the analysis we have done were also summarized in the previous class, the class number 10, I think. Yes. So let me quickly move to the other summaries. Okay, so we did industry analysis, and according to our analysis, we decided whether the market is attractive. And then we also did a competitor analysis, and through the competitor analysis, we identified our competitors, and also we summarized a lot of the recent trends of the competitors, and finally we decided whether the competition among the existing players are strong or not. And we moved on to the third analysis we have done. It's a customer analysis, and the logic is the same. We identified who are the key customers of us, and then we try to find out what are the major needs and wants of the customers, and then we draw the implication from those needs and wants. And finally, we looked at a lot of management resources which we have internally, and out of those resources, we identify the core competency of ours according to using the method of the VRIO analysis, VRIO analysis. Okay, so finally we identified some of the competencies we have as core competencies, which can be very valuable, very rare, and difficult to imitate, and very specific to our own organization. And once we identify what are the key core competencies, and then we identified what are the required capabilities in a certain business or a certain industry, and then we compared the required capabilities with the core competencies we have. And then in case we still have we are lucky enough to have the required capabilities as our core competency, and we can leverage our core competencies in addressing in developing our business strategy in that market. But unfortunately, if we do not have our core competencies, which is required in the success of that market, and then we have to think through one more cycle, whether how to import, how to supplement, how to get supplement from outside to fill out such deficiencies. Okay, so finally we developed our strategic direction of increasing the market share in the travel business by substantially increasing the resource investment. And also we developed the detailed strategy, doing another round of the exercise in developing the strategies. So finally we developed the detailed strategy by increasing our sales to existing customers. Okay, and then under the direction of our detailed strategy, we also developed our marketing strategy using 4P concept: product, price, place, and promotion. And finally, we developed our SMART action plan. And according to our SMART action plan, now it's time for us to implement our strategies we have developed into the real actions. Okay, so that's the end of the building the business strategy throughout 5 distinct steps I developed. Okay, I think in building the business strategy, I think at least those 3 things should be remembered. It's not quite related to the tactics of developing the business strategy in terms of introducing a lot of concepts. So I introduced the various concepts in developing the business strategies. In the gap analysis, so I introduced the concept of the gap. What's the gap? What's the we have to attack? And in the second step, I introduced the concept of the MISI and the issue tree, as well as BCG metrics. And in analyzing a lot of different things, especially in the analyzing the industry analysis in industries, I introduced Michael Porter's 5 forces. Okay, there are 5 different forces you have to analyze in deciding whether the industry is attractive or not. And then in step 3-2, competitor analysis, I introduced radar screen analysis. Okay, so the essence of that analysis is that we have to look at potential investors and indirect potential competitor and indirect competitors' existence and trends in order to effectively defend our position in that industry. And in the step 3-3, I did not introduce a certain specific concept, but I told you that the target customer could be very different. We may choose only one single the customer group as our target, or we can just focus 2 distinct customer groups as our target groups, or whether we can just serve the entire customers as mass customers as our customers, or we may target one single customer or the niche market as our target customers. And I introduced the concept of the needs and wants, and needs and wants are quite different concept, but in terms of the serving the needs of the customers, and it's the same. Okay, and finally in the step 3-4, I introduced the concept of the core competency developed by C.K. Prahalad and then Gary Hamel, and I also introduced the analysis of the VRIO, VRIO analysis. And earlier in this class, I also mentioned that even before or doing some industry analysis, there is some external analysis that might have some that might be useful in building the strategy. That's past analysis, P-E-S-T, past analysis. And in step 4, I introduced the 4P analysis, especially in developing the marketing mix. Okay, and in step 5, I introduced the concept of the SMART. In developing the action plan, you have to be smart. Okay, so roughly I mentioned a lot of the concept which might be useful in developing the business strategy. Okay, and the key lessons from the series of the building the business strategy lecture. I covered a lot of concepts, but right now it's not about the tactics or the concept I already introduced, but I think those are the very important lessons I would like to emphasize to you. The first one is that it's not staff in the strategy development team or your boss who would build the strategy of your own area, but it's yourself who has to develop the business strategy of your area, because you know the area the best. Let me add some of the other remarks before closing today's class. Okay, let me introduce a book. The original name of the book is Aligning Strategy and Sales, and the author of this book is Frank Cespedes. He is a professor of the Harvard Business School, and he wrote about aligning the strategy and sales. Okay. You are watching the translated version of this book in Korean. Okay. You don't have to read the entire book, and I just pick one case from this book to highlight some of the key learnings from my series of the classes in building the business strategy. So this is about Dow Corning case. Dow Corning is a United American company, and they are making a lot of chemical products. The company was established more than 100 years ago. Okay, and in Dow Corning case, they produced a lot of innovative products, and then such innovative products they produce have led to double-digit revenue growth and high returns for decades for the Dow Corning. So Dow Corning's business was so successful, and the market was so attractive because the market is growing, and the profitability is also very good. And then such a great success stopped in the late 1990s due to the departure of the customers who wanted low-cost products.